Good, happy Saturday morning. I'm Riley King, and welcome to the Riley King Newscast. Let's get started. First up, event raises funds for Heroin Anonymous. A major fundraiser was held Friday night to fight a major problem in New Hampshire. Woman imposed for role in Lizzie Marriott's killing released. A woman who pleaded guilty for her role in the murder of University of New Hampshire student was released from prison early Saturday morning. Johnson wins first pull of the season at New Hampshire. Jimmy Johnson gave Hendrick Motorsport a neat bright spot, turning a lap of 133.971 miles per hour Friday at New Hampshire Motor Speedway to win his first pull of the season. Police arrest 2 people in connection with jewelry store theft. Rochester police have arrested 2 people in connection with a jewelry store theft. Death of Concord girl, 3 ruled homicide. The March death of a 3-year-old Concord girl has been ruled a homicide. Manchester police investigate suspected meth lab. Manchester police said they found a possible meth lab at 486 Spruce Street Friday afternoon. Police charged woman who allegedly left dog locked in hot car. A Massachusetts woman is facing charges after police said they had to break her dog out of a hot car. Ginta taps family fund to repay his campaign $81,500. U.S. Rep. Frank Ginta has tapped a family fund to repay his campaign $81,500 that was the subject of a complaint filed with the Federal Election Commission against him in June, a spokesman said Friday. NASCAR invades Loudon for race weekend. Fans are flocking to Loudon to celebrate race weekend in New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Granite Staters shocked by attack in France. More than 84 people were killed and 200 were injured in what officials are calling an incredible attack of terror in Nice, France. Phillips Exeter alum blasts school for handling of assault allegations. Nearly 1,000 alums of Phillips Exeter Academy are pledging to withhold their support from the prestigious prep school, saying the administration is mishandling sexual assault allegations. Bedford police looking for 2 home invasions. Police in Bedford responded to a house on Meadow Road Friday just before noon for a burglary in progress. Brady announces he will no longer appeal Deflategate suspension. Patriots quarterback Tom Brady has announced he will no longer proceed with his Deflategate appeal. AG Chesterfield man died of wound to neck. A man who was found dead this week in Chesterfield died of a deep concussion to the neck, investigators said Friday. Turkish PM blames coup attempt on terrorist organization. 161 killed. 2,839 detained. Let's take a listen to this video from ABC News.
Good evening, and as we come on the air on the West Coast tonight, we are monitoring that military coup underway in Turkey. Fighter jets in the sky, tanks in the streets. Of course, Turkey is a major U.S. ally, but tonight it has descended into chaos. These images from inside Turkey right now, gunfire in the streets of Istanbul. Arrests underway, and the U.S. State Department telling U.S. citizens there to shelter in place. Tanks seen in the streets. A military statement has now been read on state television saying that a faction of the armed forces has seized power. A group calling itself the Turkish Peace Council imposing martial law across Turkey. And look at this tonight, a line of soldiers blocking a bridge there. This is an image being repeated across the country. The president of Turkey going on TV to signal those responsible will receive the highest penalty. But this coup continues as crowds in the streets across Turkey surges at this hour. A dangerous and uncertain night ahead, and we begin with ABC's Jonathan Carl.
Shocking scenes tonight in Istanbul, a military show of force. Heavily armed military units here taking control of key lifelines in Turkey, firing above protesters, stopped vehicles, tanks at the city's main airport, now closed to all commercial air traffic. Soldiers blocking Istanbul's Bosphorus Bridge. And in Ankara, Turkey's capital, fighter jets flying low, a menacing show of force. Turkish state television taken over too. A news anchor reading a statement from a group calling itself the Turkish Peace Council, claiming to have taken over the government and imposing martial law. But overnight, pro-government protesters storming state TV. Turkey's president, his whereabouts unknown, in an interview via FaceTime on CNN Turk, is urging supporters to mass in the streets and vowing the highest penalty for those behind the attempted coup. And tonight, the U.S. Embassy tweeting a warning to Americans. U.S. citizens in Turkey should shelter in place and stay indoors. The stakes are high. Turkey, its long border with Syria, may be America's most important ally in the fight against ISIS. Turkey is home to the crucial Incirlik Air Base, launching point for the U.S. air war against ISIS, and a place where some 1,800 U.S. military personnel are now based. Also there, dozens of U.S. tactical nuclear weapons. And Turkey has a huge army, second in size to the United States among NATO countries.
And Jonathan Carl with us live from the White House tonight. John, as I mentioned, a key and major U.S. ally, particularly in the fight against ISIS. The White House clearly monitoring this closely tonight.
Absolutely, David. And the president has just spoken to Secretary of State John Kerry. The White House releasing a statement saying the president and the secretary agreed that all parties in Turkey should show support for the democratically elected government of Turkey, show restraint, and avoid bloodshed.
John Carl, stay with us here because we want to bring in ABC's chief global affairs correspondent, Martha Raddatz, who has reported extensively from Turkey. You've also covered the State Department. Martha is with us tonight. And Martha, when you see these tweets, U.S. citizens in Turkey should shelter in place and stay indoors. That comes from the State Department. That underscores just how dangerous this is.
It truly is, David. And those who have been told to shelter in place, it's because of what you're seeing there on the street, the violence that is erupting between those loyal to the government and those trying to take it over. And as for those U.S. bases, they would likely be on lockdown, flying only essential missions. The bombing runs against ISIS probably moved elsewhere temporarily. They would wait this out and determine what the next step should be. And as much as we say Turkey's been a partner, the U.S. has urged Erdogan to do more in the fight against ISIS. The border with Syria has been a major entry point for those wanting to join ISIS and those coming out as well. David?
And Martha, we should remind our viewers watching tonight that there are more than, 2,000 U.S. soldiers there in Turkey?
That's right, about 2,200 military personnel countrywide, but the majority of them, David, are at Incirlik Air Base.
Martha Raddatz and John Carl, our thanks to you both.
Okay, and there you have it on that report. We will keep you updated on that report and bring you the latest information as soon as we get more new information on this. The Pence pick. That time, Trump didn't go with his gut. Let's take a listen to this video from CNN.
What's in your wallet?
You either have that instinct or you don't.
Donald Trump would not be Donald Trump without a lifetime of following his gut. In picking Mike Pence, he was following political advice and being practical, not following his gut. That is why about midnight Thursday night, after he offered the Indiana governor the running mate role, Trump was on the phone with senior advisors asking if it is still possible to change his mind. He was told no. In response to CNN's reporting, a Trump spokesman insisted there is, quote, zero truth to it. But Trump's uncertainty even played out in public during a phone interview with Greta Van Susteren.
I haven't made my final decision.
At that point, Trump had already offered the job to Pence. In fact, Pence was sitting in a New York City hotel room when an aide with him got a frantic call to turn on the TV because Trump was saying he hasn't yet decided. CNN is told that Pence stayed calm and said he was confident that Trump would keep his word. But some Pence confidants were panicked about Trump's comments, since the governor was in the process of giving up his own re-election bid in Indiana to join Trump's presidential bid. Indiana law required him to get off the ballot by noon Friday, which he did. Trump's last-minute second-guessing came not just because he was out of his comfort zone, but also because he was annoyed that his own team was trying to box him in, making sure he made the politically practical choice, Pence, a squeaky clean Christian conservative Midwestern governor with a dozen years of experience in Congress. Instead of New Jersey Governor Chris Christie, a loyal friend who endorsed Trump as soon as he ended his own presidential run and became an influential behind-the-scenes advisor on all things politics, fundraising, campaign management, and messaging. But most of Team Trump thought Pence was the best pick and made a series of moves to push the candidate in that direction. Like after Trump had plane trouble and couldn't leave Indiana as planned Wednesday morning, Trump's children flew out early and accompanied their father to breakfast at the Indiana governor's residence. And even flew Alabama Senator Jeff Sessions, a kindred political spirit of Mike Pence, out to Indiana to help Trump make his final decision. Complicating matters for Trump, the fact that he didn't want to disappoint his friend, Chris Christie, whom he talked to about Attorney General instead of Vice President. Christie pushed back and argued to the billionaire that he would be Trump's best running mate. Because of the deadly attack in France, Trump postponed his planned Friday VP announcement, which bought him some time. But by 10:50 a.m., despite the drama and indecision, Trump sent a tweet making it official. Mike Pence it is.
We love Indiana. We love our country. My family and I couldn't be more honored to have the opportunity to run with and serve with the next president of the United States.
Okay, and there you have it on that report. And that does it for the Riley King Newscast right here on the Riley King Network. I hope you all have a great rest of your Saturday. See you back here later on. Goodbye.